18 minutes to 8.
Start your day
with Julian Clegg
on BBC Radio Solent.
Now, young people's happiness and confidence has dropped to an 8-year low, according to a new report. The Prince's Trust Youth Index found 1 in 4 young people aged between 16 and 25 don't feel in control of their lives because of recent political events, job prospects and a lack of self-esteem. Have a listen to 25-year-old Nathaniel from Eastleigh. Says he found life as a teenager sometimes impossible and identifies a lot with this latest report.
I have been involved with the Prince's Trust since I was 16. And this was for a whole range of issues, but I had a problematic living environment. I was also a young carer for my mum, and I also had learning differences at school, which meant I had a lot on my shoulders, and it was a big struggle. I have come a really long way from where I was a few years ago, but I still do have this kind of lack of control in my life. And I feel that a lot of young people also have it. I mean, it can be through confidence or just a kind of lack of prospects. I mean, for me personally, I have a real lack of faith in the government at the moment, and it makes me so uncertain to be able to make any rational decision. There's also so much going on with Brexit, and until I know a definitive answer, it's really difficult to make very strong life plans. Other things that I think are affecting other young people is that there isn't a universal living wage, which I think is dreadful at the moment. It's very hard to start a career and a future when you can't save enough to give you that head start in life.
Nathaniel telling his story. Listening to that is Devon Finch, the Director for London and the South of England at the Prince's Trust. Morning, Dermot.
Hi, Julian.
Thanks for being there. I mean, your reaction to Nathaniel's story, first of all.
Well, I know Nat. We've supported Nat over the last few years, so I'm very familiar with his story and his progress over the last few years. We're really proud of him. But what he says, isn't unusual. There's a lot of young people telling us now that on top of probably things that you would expect young people to feel, anxieties about whatever their body image or, how popular they are at school or whatever, they're now telling us that, living costs are really getting quite difficult for them, and they're worried about, just where their next job's going to come from and the political uncertainty. So those sorts of things are being added to what you might expect young people to say.
How much of a factor, you mentioned the political uncertainty, how much of a factor is, that, let's be blunt, the news being depressing, some might argue, is this playing in these figures?
Well, it wasn't the most cheerful year, was it, 2016? And of course it does. It has an impact on younger and older people. So I think our survey, we did the survey in November, and it was taken from about 2,200 young people right across the country.
So a good sample size.
Including in Hampshire and Southampton and Portsmouth, etc. So they're reflecting what they're picking up in the news. But also, I think young people, haven't seen their wages go up, are worried about job prospects, no idea how they're going to, pay rent or let alone, mortgage and stuff like that. So I think young people are feeling the pinch. And they're telling us that through this survey.
And just must mention here, you've launched a new mental health strategy to help deal with this. And I just want to mention this because this is important, isn't it?
Well, the Prime Minister's going to be making an announcement today, which we welcome, about just raising awareness about mental health. And she's going to be saying that teachers and parents, should be supported to spot the early signs of mental health problems. And we absolutely agree with that. And we train up our youth workers to do just that. So, from today, we will be embedding a mental health strategy at the Prince's Trust so that all of our support, all of our youth workers will be able to support young people who have got problems with their mental health. So, good timing, I think, with the Prime Minister's announcement today.
Well, I want to thank you, Dermot. I wish you well with that. And obviously, a lot of eyes will be on that speech from the Prime Minister and indeed on this concept of having more people not just embedded in the Prince's Trust but in the education system, keeping an eye on youngsters' mental health. So it seems a very good idea. Dermot, thank you for being there.
You're welcome, thanks.
Cheers. Devon Finch from the Prince's Trust. It's 13 minutes to 8. BBC Radio Solent, good morning from me, Julian Clegg. Our headlines this morning.